Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Nope, restart. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hackurate podcast. My name is Nathan Goodman. This is episode 14. Next to me is my co-host,
Aaron Howell.
Yeah, we're here. We're doing it. We're watching
doing the
Spy
thing.
Kids 2 in the background on mute.
Right? Very bizarre.
Something that's already bothered me is they have those little hats with the propellers and they keep spinning. So like,
motorized.
did you ever buy one of those that actually had a motor in it?
I never
or
bought
see
one, but I always wondered, like, you know, how people had some that would keep spinning.
Right.
Now I know it would be a motor.
Because in the comic books at the end, it'd always be like, flying hat, order now. And it wasn't a hat that actually made you fly. It was just one of those.
Right.
But I never ordered one because I knew it was fake. Or X-ray rings or glasses from the back of comic books.
Yeah.
Those were weird. Like, how do they just justify scamming children out of dollars
Sending
like that?
3D glasses.
From like the 50s
as
onwards.
X-ray glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, there's lack of information. It's all hack. It's all, you know, the ability to just be like, I'm going to sell you this product before you're ever wise to it. You're just a kid. Your parents are going to be like, I'll buy this thing so you'll be quiet. Stop asking for this stuff.
Right. Well, I guess
that's how capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, that's how like Spy Gear came out. I mean, fucking...
Oh, I had some Spy Gear as a kid.
First 10 minutes. Whoopsie-doodles.
Oh, I mean, you know, we're still not trying to make money on it yet.
There's that spy store near us that's like, I assume, home security systems, but I wonder if they have like toys or like random things.
Probably not. They're like, ooh, enjoy the new packaged GPS spouse tracking system.
Right. I think
Stick
I got
it under their car.
Like one pair of those like camera in the glasses, but I never set it up because there's a big ass camera on your glasses and you can tell that there's stuff in your glasses.
At all.
Why would you wear it around? It's obvious.
It's for like the non-discreet discretion of being a kid and having spy gear.
Right? Can you imagine trying to go through the grocery store with like
just a whole ass tiny camera on your
like glasses that are just supposed to look funny, but actually have a little tiny camera on the side, and it's 1994, and there's a lady in the grocery store like, "What is this kid running around?" And the person's like, "Oh, I let them make orders from the back of a Superman comic book."
And you're like, oh.
1995, three payments of 1995.
Right, and they're just watching him run around out in the yard with these tools on his face, and they're just like,
right. He comes inside, he's like, hook it up to the TV,
like,
Mom.
Do you think he'd like soccer?
And they have to get out
he'd like football.
Those many pronged 1992 hookups that was like 10 cords just to get a recorder.
Oh,
onto the
the red, yellow, white.
Yeah. Well, that and those.
You gotta have these two audio channels in the video channel.
The ones with the screws on the side, those are always ridiculous.
Oh, the ones that actually screw into, kind of like an old, like a cable connection.
Yeah.
Man, I have always
basically had to do magic to get a video recording onto your TV.
Well, it is magic.
Back in the day.
You're playing around with magic. Just advertised as a technology.
Right? Nobody really knows how a cassette tape can play
Nobody knows my iPod cassette troubles I've seen.
How is it you can Bluetooth to a FM transmitter that transmits the stuff? It's wacky. It's real wacky biz.
Well, and it's crazy too because it's like you're basically just using like hypersonic
data,
like waves.
I guess waves, yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, like
it's a wave.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of like where the middle ground is between like sound, radio, and light. Because you got sound, which is like the lowest frequency version of radio, basically. Because it's not like, it doesn't translate through matter without arresting the matter. Or, I mean, you know, affecting the matter.
Yeah. But that's the last step.
It is still affected by matter in like, you know, electrical like fields, but it's not like say sound where it's just like we're matter colliding everywhere. We're gonna that's a weird
scene in Spy Kids. A dude is trying to talk to the president's daughter, and there's 1, 2, 3, approximately nine CIA, FBI. What are these guys? Secret Service agents surrounding this person. A lot.
In a circle.
It's way more than they're probably doing.
Swaying left and right.
Yeah.
To the music.
Dancing with the little girl dancing. Oh, the little kid has a level 2 pass. It's stronger than the president, apparently. These spies really go all the way to
These
the top.
OSS. You know, what's interesting, too, is like I found out after
The
watching
KGB?
these movies that the OSS was like a real name of like
Oh,
a
yeah.
spy agency.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting that they used an actual name.
They use all the real stuff. And might as well. What do they got to lose? They're not coming for them.
Yeah, clearly.
Right?
I mean, it's a movie.
They've had KGB agents and like secret foreign service agents in comic books forever. And we learn through that the foreign armies better than we just look them up. No one says these are the names of the foreign armies, but I know like Spetsnaz and that's the space.
No, Spetsnaz wasn't space.
Okay. Well, that's
like
that's a group.
forces.
That's a special forces group, or like the KGB.
Russian,
that's a special forces group, or that's another one.
I forgot the abbreviation.
IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, the JDF, the Japanese Defense Force. I know these names better than I know
the RAF, Royal Air Force.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you got what's it called? MI6. That's real.
Yeah. But I
was trying to think.
I guess I probably learned MI6 from real life, but I know all those others from comic books and stuff, fictional things.
Got the ATF. That's another.
They weave
American
it into
group.
our fiction so that we get used to it.
Yeah,
they want us to get used to it.
Hey, Shooter McGavin.
So they weave it in. Oh, that's
got
that
Happy.
guy's name?
Got Happy. No, it's not his real name. It's Happy Gilmore's nemesis in the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah,
Happy Gilmore.
He's also the bad guy in George of the Jungle.
No. That's the guy who plays Sandman.
It's the other guy with the big forehead.
Yeah,
Fuck, I always forget
the guy who plays Sandman. The guy who plays Sandman.
What is? I know, but what is his name?
I don't know his name.
He was in
George of the Jungle.
Wings with French Stewart, I think.
I never saw that.
Oh,
but I know his name is Lyle in George of the Jungle.
He was in Wings.
Lyle,
a show about
in George of the Jungle,
a tiny little airport. A sitcom about a small airport.
Weird.
I don't know.
It'd be weird seeing him in a sitcom. I've only seen him in serious roles.
A lot of different attempts at sitcoms in the late 80s, early 90s.
I guess I've really only seen him in Sandman, as Sandman, and as Lyle in George of the Jungle. Because I remember when I saw him as Sandman, I was like, holy shit, it's that guy.
Lyle
He's still alive.
From George of the Jungle.
And that was back in like 8th grade when we went and saw Spider-Man 3 in the theaters as a group.
There's another movie.
Field trip.
Trying to remember what it was called. It was like Tim Allen, and he had like a wild jungle kid in New York. I get that movie mixed up.
Jungle to Jungle.
Jungle to Jungle. I get Jungle
hilarious.
to Jungle and George of the Jungle in my memory crossed up a lot. I'm always just like, that's not from that movie. That's from the other movie. Who is even the antagonist in Jungle to Jungle? New York? Was New York the antagonist?
Tim Allen and his own problems.
Him trying to be a good father to a Tarzan boy?
It's the challenge of fatherhood and success.
In a pre 9/11 New York?
Pre 9/11, I think present Tim Allen doing cocaine like at that time.
He probably was doing cocaine, actually. I don't know, because that was also Home Improvement years. Was he doing blow during all those years? When did Tim Allen stop doing cocaine?
I don't know.
Oh.
Did he ever stop?
I would assume so, because he had to do Toy Story. And he's still doing Toy Story.
I don't know. Was it a Downey situation where he stopped everything to do his filming or his new stuff?
I mean, Downey went back to rehab before. He didn't just stop.
Well, no. Yeah, but he stopped. He had to stop in order to do Iron Man. Like, that was like his big, like, I've recovered. I'm not doing it anymore, like film. And that's why it was so big, too. Because
he was in another movie.
Bounced back.
Either right before or right after Iron Man about a kid in like a artsy school. And he like got to that school and everybody was like bullying him. And then he like made a big deal. And Robert Downey Jr. was like the teacher, mentor character. I can't remember the name, but the main character from that was the guy who played Chekhov in Star Trek. And he killed himself. So
yeah, I remember.
Doesn't
matter.
Rip. Unalive himself through some mysterious circumstances. I will say I watched on record, I watched that SNL music video of Pete Davidson kind of
on record? This is all on record.
Yeah, it was like a Ken. Well, I told you this already, but Pete Davidson does like a Ken like music video like from Barbie, but it's all like addressing like him being a psycho.
That's funny.
And like the very end of it, he like is in a car with Barbie and they're like, let's go. And he just crashes into a house because he did that one time. So he's like leaning into everything that people make fun of him for. Yeah. And the song is really like pretty good. So
I mean, the man's nothing if not talented at getting people to like him.
I know, yeah. And I mean, he even addresses it in the song that he barely does anything with comedy. And I'm just like, I want him to do more comedy now. Like, stop doing serious stuff.
I just hope he doesn't fall into the trap of riding that wave to the point where then it destroys his ability to be funny. Where, like, I guess,
I mean, like he's been doing for a while.
well, kind of, yeah. But I mean, not part of it too is like just the unfortunate circumstances of sleeping with people that he slept with and like dating
incredibly
people he's dated with. It's like, well, maybe you should just be more discerning with your dating.
No,
and how that affects your yeah, it's not impossible.
Famous people should only date famous people.
Well, maybe. But what I'm saying is just like you date different famous people.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying you don't have to, do what you want. But if you date complicated people that seem to rearrange people's lives that come in contact with them in one way or another through contact or maybe intention, who knows?
Just write some jokes.
Just write some jokes.
Anybody
exactly.
would sell you
Stay
stage
funny.
Time. Just write some jokes. Go on tour. I don't care what size venue you do, even if it's a unfairly big one. Just do it. His whole thing was like he did like a cold open about.
These guys hanging from their necks. Whoa!
He did a cold open about like being
Magnet
a 9/11 like kid.
Too. What?
He did like a monologue about being a 9/11 kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because the times are mirrored in a sense.
Yeah.
So that was, I didn't really listen to that part, but the music video was good.
Yeah.
But you guys, we're going to talk about a TV show I started watching last night called Deep Fake Love on Netflix because it's got me all crossed up. I got to say, it's probably the only competition show I would definitely not ever go on because it's pure mental torture.
Yeah.
Pure 100%.
I mean, it seems like it. It seems like the worst way to design a show to get you to find solid ground in your relationship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and not only that, but like the people that are doing the thing, like definitely, like they're the people who are like just skating by in life. They're all hot. They're not doing anything, and they're just doing like reality shows probably. But like the mental anguish that they're being put through, you're like, you didn't even have to make yourself breakfast this morning. So you know what? This is all right. Go ahead and go through all this. I'm not going to say you deserve it, but damn if you don't deserve a little bit of like humbling humility in the face of real life. So they take like 5 couples, split them all up into 2 different houses with like at least 10 other singles that are all hot. Everybody's hot, which is also a nice breath of fresh air after Naked Attraction because Naked Attraction is kind of a look into the lesser hot, more desperate kind of pool of dating.
Yeah.
And this is just all hot people, and they're just horny and playing naked games. It's like Spain. So it's like Spanish people.
So it's really
they all kiss on the cheek and then kiss on the belly and then fucking kiss everywhere. They're crazy.
Yeah. So the show is really called Self-Control.
It's barely even about the deep fake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just about controlling one's own desire.
Yeah, being in the most compromising situation possible.
Being like, you've got tits right in front of you that are not your partner's. What are you gonna do?
Right.
That's kind of crazy.
Right. Well, and I mean, I feel like the women were like easier to like cave early, and then but then they see like deep fake videos of like their guy like cheating on them, and they're immediately like, all right, now I'm going all the way. Whereas the guys like weren't necessarily cheating on. They were just like, oh, this is easy. I can just hang out. There's boys here. We'll hang out with the boys and, have a good time. And there's, some sexy ladies, whatever. But then they see a video of their girl, a deep fake of their girl cheating on him possibly.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, fuck it. If she's going to do that, I'm going to really push it. We're going to go all the way.
It's insane.
As long as I don't get to third base or to home plate, it's fine.
So the show then is really called Jealousy, the Game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's showing exactly like the problem with like the way people interact and read situations and then respond to those situations.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole like premise is basically just like make a poor decision emotionally.
Right. But it's also relatable too because you have that same feeling of like, well, if that's happening over there, then I'm going to do whatever I want to. But also, these people are all kind of crazy because they're all just hot and they don't have a lot of brains. And like this one guy was telling this other girl that he was like, I'm going to get loose with you because you're kind of like my girlfriend and it won't be that big of a deal. And I was just like, that's weird to like say straight to another person. Like she's a person. Like none of these people are treating the singles like they're actually people. They're just treating them like a test of their willpower. And I'm just like, so douchey.
Yeah.
So incredibly douchey.
Well, yeah.
But then the other person is just like, that's fine. You can do it. Do it. Let me tempt you. And I'm just like, how much of these singles getting paid like 10 grand a pop to get these people to cave? What's happening? What is their motivation behind getting involved? It's wild. It's definitely a fun show and funny. Like, I couldn't pull the trigger on 90 Day Fiance. It looked like a long just practice in like trashy behavior. And I don't like it when I would prefer a show like that maybe be episodic, like show one at a time instead of showing them all like spread out.
Showing one like group at one.
One scenario at a time, one 90 Day
As
Fiance
opposed
each
to
time, as opposed to
jumping
like
around.
showing
It's
it
like,
spread out.
remember these people?
Right?
Remember these people?
I feel like because that's how I feel about not to put an anime note on it, but like when like shonen writers or like guys who write action manga, they'll be like, all right, everybody's separated. Like all the main characters are separated. Now they're going to all fight one-on-ones. And then we're going to spread that out as long as we can, like Bleach basically did.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get so tired of that formula. Like I want to be introduced to a thing and like a fight to run its course or like an event. Like I didn't mind Queer Eye for that situation because Queer Eye for the straight or for the, I guess it's just called Queer Eye because they're not just doing straight guys, but like they would just do one makeover an episode. It was like one makeover from beginning to end. And you're just like, all right, I get some closure. Move on. Like I really like some closure in that scenario.
Well, it's like that's kind of the way like older shows used to go too, if I remember correctly. Like, I just having seen some like shows where they're like, all right, you're getting a what's it called, a makeover or something like that, and they're just like, all right, here's this lady, she's going through all these different steps, here's a makeover, and this is what she looks like now. Right. It wasn't like, here's 10 ladies getting makeovers, here's this step of the process for this lady. Do you remember this lady? She's over here getting this thing.
Like, we're gonna spread it out.
It's like
3-4 episodes.
We need to be a little bit more specific again, just so we can be like, all right, let's get to the meat of the show.
Right. Well, that's like, the nice thing about a lot of those like sci-fi series in the 90s, like Stargate and Star Trek, like they all, you got to be episodic. Like everything these days, as far as like shows and as far as media, they're like, well, we weave a whole season together intricately. And it's like, you still need to have one-off stories in each episode.
You need to be able to watch an episode and not just be like, this is a small piece of something.
Each piece needs to stand out like its own thing. Like that's, the art of writing a specific chunk of time. And not just saying like this needs to relate to the last one and the one next and all over the place. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Lends to
I mean, even the deep fake love, I feel like some of these shows, like if I was watching week to week, it'd be grueling. Like the Naked Attraction episode.
Yeah.
If you're watching that week to week, like you get episodes where it's just dong. All you got to see was 10 dongs and 2 pairs of tits and vag, and you're just like, this is not
so disappointing.
This is only so much. You're like, show me all the stuff. Like you get a bi person in there, at least it's mixed up, or a dude first and then a lady, and then you get an even spread of tops and bottoms.
Right. Well, there were the 2 episodes. I think it was maybe season 2 where it was like 2 episodes where it was like all ladies looking for guys. So it's just all genitalia, all penises.
Yeah.
No, not really a lot of lady parts. And it's very disappointing.
Right. Yeah. Like, man, I just watched 40 minutes of...
Because, I don't think I'm a prude in that way. Obviously, we're watching, the ones where ladies are choosing the guys too. But it's, for me, the hardest part about that is just seeing some of these... unmanicured gardens.
Yeah.
Or just, something where you're just like, could you not just make that look a little bit nicer?
Right, move it around. It looks like an unrolled sausage.
Right, lotion up something. Like, or hey guy, like while you're standing there in the box before they raise the entire thing, double check. Do you have any weird hairs hanging out of parts of your body?
Be a little more picky on how you're standing.
That
like
too.
Some of the way they like
They stand like monsters.
They go like the worst posture that they could muster, and then like their feet are spread out super wide and pointed in the opposite direction.
Imagine like an oafish, like over-teed, poor postured like stance. That's kind of what
could also take almost a whole like half-inch off your height. Bring your feet together. Bring your toes together.
Right.
You know, stand up straight.
Stand up straight. It'll push your dick out a little bit more.
Take strong, deep breaths. Like even some of the ladies will stand there, and I'm like, you're going like full Quasimodo, Hunchback of Notre Dame posture right now.
Yeah.
Like just stand up. You probably get a little bit of relief. You could probably breathe better in that weird colored box.
And instead of falling into a panic mode because you're not getting
their weird
CO2.
Colored box. What about a panic mode?
Hey, it's one of the. What is that? It's not Tommy Chong. That's Cheech, right?
Yeah, Cheech.
Yeah, Cheech. Spy Kids. Smoke one up. But yeah, I don't. It's just
something else that was also cracking me up about deepfake love when I was like contrasting it to like Stars on Mars.
Yeah.
Whereas I would also much rather do Stars on Mars or anything harder, because deepfake love looks like a nightmare, especially all the social interaction. But the meals just appear. Stuff just shows up. Food just shows up on this show. And it's like, that's kind of like in the way, they definitely had people on Stars on Mars like around. And they were using clever camera tricks to never show. Like, they probably came in at night and did some, the kicked off people stuff. Or like they were outside, like messing up the habitat or whatever, throwing rocks.
Yeah.
So like on this, like all these hot people will be sitting around like, what do for breakfast? And then a blink and suddenly they all have breakfast. And I'm like, what? Who's feeding these people? And I'm like, well, if they're getting fed and they're consenting to all of this, then they, it's fine to have to deal with this Squid Game style relationship game. I mean, that's how I feel like all we've been, Netflix has been doing is doing like, the Dance 100 is like Squid Games, but dance. Or like,
Physical 100 was definitely the most like Squid Games.
Yeah, Squid Games for physical exercise, and then Deep Fake Love is Squid Games for psychotic hot people.
Mental, emotional trauma.
While also flexing a really nice deep fake
tech.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's probably half of what that show is. Someone just trying to really showcase that technology.
Right? I mean,
You're
or
like, government, buy it from me. Buy it from me.
Well, they sold it at a showcase, and that's why it's in the show.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's kind of how that kind of stuff goes.
Showcased, and the show's like, we want it. We've got an idea.
3 deep fake websites probably you can just do. Like,
get
a membership and then put in a picture and slap it on a porn star. It's really, really weird that these things exist.
Yeah. Well, like the creepy thing about that, it would be like people then be like, all right, well, I'm just going to take photos of people that I know and put them on porn stars. Which is really,
that's presumably
really,
what
really
a good
gross.
portion of the weirdos do. And it's like, there's no market for that. So obviously those people aren't the ones turning around trying to make it a profit, which is even more morally gray. But
yeah.
It's
very bizarre, and like I don't support weird shady stuff like taking people's faces.
No. I don't support any of that stuff. I'm just saying it exists.
However,
I just want to talk about some of the things that exist.
Yeah,
because they shouldn't, or at least they need to get a tight, hard grip on this stuff. And it's like, if you're going to put pictures online of yourself in any kind of regular fashion, just watermark everything. Just watermark everything with stuff that makes it look unusable.
Right? Like hide your name in tiny areas, stuff like that.
It's crazy. I mean, I remember like 4chan, like they used to do like bubble photos, which is somebody would post like a bikini photo of somebody they knew, and then another person would
you tell me about
put like a full color picture over it and just cut out bubbles of like their skin. So it would look like potentially they're naked, even though they have a bikini on. It's really, really dumb.
Well, it's weird. And like, I mean, it just
like you shouldn't be doing this, you guys.
Yeah,
stop saving pictures of people you know to do things with.
Right? It's like save your energy, and also use it for something more productive than
burn it in the fires of lost data.
I guess the lack of respect for the people because to me that seems pretty disrespectful.
Right? Maybe that's a service we need, is a River Styx for like data. Give 2 pennies and some bot will just trash something you're trying to get rid of, and it's like down to its ones and zeros, and just be like, this is unusable. I've corrupted this file, and now it's gone. Like, it's gone forever. Nobody can uncorrupt it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. Somebody take that from me. Some Silicon Valley guy. Take that, make it, and then come
almost
back
like,
and give me money for it.
Well, so, for example, like something that comes to mind is like Xbox Live is now deleting saved captures and material after 90 days on the cloud.
Yeah.
I like that idea because then that creates the impermanence, which obviously you can still save stuff offline and whatnot. But it's like the aggregation of data for the reuse like definitely seems redundant to some degree, where it's just like it's cool to be able to reuse stuff.
Right.
But
a gaming clip you took 90 days ago is the equivalent of recorded fireworks. Like, you're not going to use it.
I've thought about that where I'm just like, oh yeah, I've saved a bunch of clips that I'll be like, yeah, I'll go back and like upload this. That'll look real cool. And then, spend more than a day or two. I'm just like, I don't really need to go back to it. No one else knows about it. I don't have to do anything with it. It doesn't really exist like me, say if it's a Battlefield clip, it's like me totally wrecking that set of guys.
Yeah.
It's cool, but at the same time, there's plenty of other occasions like that. So it's like...
you don't need it in perpetuity.
Yeah, I don't need it in perpetuity.
You're not going to go back to that clip
forever.
in 4 years and then be like, oh yeah,
sick clip.
That's so good I kept that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what made it easier too for last year when I went through my Instagram and, because up to that point I hadn't deleted anything I'd ever posted for the most part for my art profile. I had like 1,400 posts and whittled it down to probably just a couple hundred, which took forever. It took several days. But for like a day, I was just like, wow, all that stuff I deleted. And then I was just like, all right, well, it's not there anymore anyways. And I saved my most favorite stuff, but didn't need that.
The social media angle of like, you are this thing now. So it's like, if you have enough saved stuff and people always see the thing from a few years ago, you're never going to be like now. You're like there instead of here. And that's interesting. Like I don't, necessarily care either way, but I know somebody who I like follow on Instagram who's like a staff spinner who's transitioned to a non-binary personality, and they look good. They cut their hair and they're pulling off the whole thing, but then they'll post really old clips of them doing a stunt from their stunt times and then post the new thing. And I'm like, this is like, as an audience member, you get a little like, what, temporally you get confused because you're like, what am I looking at? And it's not, the business model of just doing it and having that old stuff, I feel like isn't like a problem. I talked about that one, like a Pornhub, like self-produced person who, transitioned and now posts like non-binary stuff. And it's like, it's interesting to like move into that new space, but presenting your like old clips and being like, this is me. And it's like, that's like, I feel like it's like dead naming yourself. Whereas I'm also like, I don't want you to have to make those old clips because that stuff's hard and you can't, but it's still you. It's just things that a version of you did in the past. I guess in that sense, past you is the same as, like a past version of yourself is the same as any other past version of yourself you leave behind.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I see what you're saying though. It is a little confusing where you're just like, well, like, so you can bring up, I mean, obviously you're the individual. It's like you bring up the stuff from your past, but simultaneously then it's just like, well, then who's allowed to bring up stuff about your past if you're actively, like, is that kind of like what you're saying? It's a little bizarre. Like,
well, no, I mean, yes, but I'm also kind of working just through it now and I'm being like, it's fine.
Well, yeah, no, like, I mean, it's fine, but
I'm working through it live on air.
I think like where it would get weird is where, you would see like potential conflict with that, where it's just like, okay, so if someone brings that up though, are you going to get frustrated because they're bringing up you doing a thing as somebody else, or are you just going to be cool and also understand that? Because like, it's one thing to post your own old stuff yourself, and then like, especially if you have transitioned in your presentation of yourself. But I mean, you can't expect everyone, like if you do that thing and set the precedent for being like, hey, it's cool for like this, then you should be cool with everybody else doing it. And so like, hopefully there would just be no
Yeah, I mean,
confusion's in there.
I just think maybe the confusion of it comes from like thinking that it's a new video and being like, oh, did you like not enjoy what was going on? Are you still like, I'm keeping up with the narrative as it comes out on like social media. So if you see somebody and they've transitioned and you're like, yeah, you know, going for it, like haircut, everything's cool. And then they post an old thing and you're like, wait, are you like deciding on this? But then you have to like dig and be like, oh no, it's just an old video. Like that kind of confusion is, I feel like, what is confusing, you know, because I don't know. It's just, I'm just stating like events, and like I like to talk about social media and the way that, you know, it's changing how we're seeing each other and presenting ourselves.
Yeah. When I think like,
because I also think I should definitely go in and delete some old posts too, because they're just old.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just sitting there. And I don't really have like that much of an attachment to it at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key, just data responsibility. Maybe to sum up the whole point of what we've been talking about is data responsibility.
Data responsibility and just like the
delete your old photo bucket account. It's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like just having the awareness to know that you. I mean, it's just like being in the
have a Zanga.
It's like being. No, I have no idea what that is.
No.
Sounds like another thing I didn't need.
It was really. It was pre MySpace.
Yeah.
It was like a blog.
Yeah.
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 I just knew it because like all the people in my Atlanta school were posting their like beef there, and then they'd get to school and be like, I saw what you posted about me on Zanga, and I'm like, why are you following the people on Zanga that you're having beef with? This is weird.
Well, I would say because people can't. It's the not knowing is worse almost. So maybe it's people are just like, I just got to know if people are talking about me, which is another insecurity. It's just like, well, if that's your problem, then that's your problem.
Right.
It's like that's not on everybody else. That's on you.
Right.
For giving a fuck that anyone else is talking about you or that they care about you.
Realize and remember that like Twitter's been happening since way before Twitter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like, you know, Twitter just provided a consolidated platform for people to go to.
Yeah. And now we're unconsolidated.
But what I was going to say
spread out.
Is that, it all comes down to just presenting yourself in the digital space and having the awareness that it's the same thing, just interpolated differently in a different fashion as presenting yourself in the physical space. So like people are going to like still have opinions or judgments based off how you present yourself. It's, I think, the individual's responsibility to be aware of how they are presenting themselves and to not be assailed if someone doesn't understand where they're coming from immediately, because everyone has their own like sort of
already.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it's physical space, digital space. Yeah.
Just because you're in a digital space doesn't mean you have to move at a digital pace.
We should move at a rational pace.
Yeah, I just thought of that. I liked it.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Spy Mama.
Spy Mama. Oh, we got Antonio Banderas and his fake mustache.
Oh, yeah, he puts on a mustache. Yeah. Which is the real him.
Yeah.
The no mustache or the real mustache.
Although, now I'm trying to remember.
I mustache you a question.
Mustache in Zorro? I don't think so.
I mustache you a question. Is this real? You mean the movie with Anthony Hopkins playing, was he Spanish?
Was Anthony Hopkins in there?
Anthony Hopkins was his trainer.
Oh.
He was the original Zorro.
I don't even remember.
I watched that movie pretty recently.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice. I remember watching it, and what's her name? The lady, and it's so hot.
It's pretty wild.
Amazing.
I mean, the whole thing is about occupying land that's not yours and buying it up.
True.
From the surrounding territories, and then a lone Zorro man going in and destabilizing it all, and really just Batmaning the whole situation up. He's like, I can just go in. You don't know who I am. I stab and I poke and I slice.
He's a Ronin with
I drop somebody alive in a burning building. Still not responsible.
It's like, I'm not going to save you, but I don't have to not drop you in this fire.
My costume is black, but I'm morally gray.
I forgot about that scene, but now I remember a little bit of it.
Oh, yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah, that movie is wild.
What's the point of all the push-ups if you can't lift a bloody log?
Yeah. Michael Caine, he's retired.
Yeah. Michael Caine retired.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy? He's not going to show up like half present to any cameos,
any
hopefully.
Chris Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm wondering. I'm like, does he have another cameo in Oppenheimer? I wonder, because he's been in like basically every Nolan movie.
He might have. But I mean, that was right before this retirement.
Oh yeah.
announcement,
Well,
so-
that's what I'm wondering. I was like, was that his last cameo? Maybe did he? If he's in there, I still haven't seen it. I should at some point soon. That's an impractical fish dragon right there.
Yeah, but the water effects are pretty good. I mean, they obviously did practical water effects for this weird 2-headed fish dragon. It's a fish with a head at both ends.
Yeah, it's like
What
cat
kind
dog,
of hell?
except it's fish head. You
think they share one like poop hole out of the
There
middle?
is no poop hole.
There's a poop hole. Fish don't have butts; they just have a poop hole.
Yeah, but they're at either end, and biology's typically
Would it be like in the other fish head's
in
chin?
the end. Right in the throat,
Yeah.
shit out of their throat.
Yeah,
that's awful.
I mean, in cat dog,
what a horrible.
They kind of just said that like the poops were just like hairballs coming out from the cat's end. So presumably the cat was the poop end.
Of course, I bet that show was made by dog people.
That's
monsters.
Or it was probably made by some people.
How about dogs in their gross vomit? That's the shit. It's not hairballs, which is totally natural for a cat. Also, dogs can get hairballs.
They didn't want.
So I'm just wondering what the agenda is on this cat dog. What's the real ratio of these dog lovers versus cat lovers?
Like that's why the song
I'm getting
was
triggered.
That's why the song was cat dog, because it was more dog than cat. It was CATDAWWWWG. Cat dog.
That seems very impractical for a desk. Look at that.
But it's hard to get up there.
I know, but boss dies on the first day because he slips. He can't Beastmaster his way out to the desk in the middle of this room. It's kind of like a Cerebro.
If you're listening, so what we're looking at is, of course you're listening because we don't have video. What you're looking at is a desk surrounded with probably a 20-foot drop with letters that circle around, and the guy was stepping on the letters, letter pillars, pillars, if you will, and he stepped on them.
I guess column has to be
get to the desk,
pillar.
Suspended about 30 feet in the air. It's very dangerous. But that's, the spies. They got to do this kind of spy stuff. If you break into the FBI, it's going to look like that.
But have an old-fashioned, biometric, bridge that just folds out and extends when you're there and disappears when you're not. I'm just saying you shouldn't have to be hopping on the ends of poles like you're training for a...
Keeps you in shape.
Martial arts...
Keeps you in shape.
Showdown.
It's a great way to stay in shape.
Yeah, but he's holding coffee, too. It's just...
Yeah, what's up with... I'm realizing now coffee is probably the most spillable substance.
It's so spillable. It's crazy. It's like it has a slightly thinner viscosity than water.
Anytime I take coffee out to drive around, one speed bump, and it's flipping and dropping outside. I'm having to keep napkins underneath my cup. It's pretty crazy.
Well, but think about it, too, though. When you're driving, as soon as you get, one splash or one bump, your car's moving, too. So, wherever that splash is, it's moving through space. And so it's dealing with multiple forces trying to get it to whirl and twist. And so that liquid's super volatile in a car.
Sure.
More
but
volatile
if you drink it to
than
the amount that it won't
rest.
But if you let it spill to the amount that it wants, then it won't spill anymore. So that's a new thing that I learned. Just kidding.
It's because you got to fight the ratio of gravity versus the distance it takes for it to travel up the side of the cup. So,
well, you don't have to do the math. You can just let the math work itself out.
And just spill
gravity is a constant.
So just put a bunch of napkins in a console, stick the cup.
Use gravity, get gravity, commit your psychopathic acts like letting your coffee spill. And then it'll balance itself out. That's karma. That's karma.
I feel like
But then sometimes I can just hold it like a little balancing act, and it doesn't even spill at all.
You're driving?
It's incredible, yeah.
You gotta get a hand on the wheel. What if you need two hands on the wheel?
I pulled up into an off ramp, and the light was green yesterday, and this lady was just sitting there for some reason at the green light, just sitting there, and I pulled up behind her, and I just laid on my horn, laid on it. The light was green.
Yeah,
probably a good 5 seconds of green into yellow into red.
Oh my god!
And I stop honking, and then two little kids from the back seat both turn and look at me, and I just mouth, "It was green. Tell your mom." Yeah. It was green. And then they both just turn back around.
Oh,
I'm just like, I hope those kids told their mom it was green.
Yeah, but I'd say odds are they were probably.
She was on her phone. They're all on their phones.
Odds are they're
Everybody's on their
probably
phones.
looking back at you because she was just talking trash about you.
No, I mean, she knew what she was doing. She's on her phone.
That's what I'm saying. She was probably talking trash about you because to her, you're the inconvenience because you're just sitting there honking, even though she's being a complete moron and sitting in.
I don't think she noticed at all what was going on. She didn't even look up. She didn't even look up into the mirror. Or just like, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Sounds exactly like the kind of person who would be then inconvenienced and just complain about you to her kids.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because I've seen people do that. That's what people do. They complain to their kids. Their kids see it in the car. They learn that like, oh, people who do that kind of thing are bad. Like, you know, I've seen people do shit like that where they're just like, oh, that person's crazy. They tell their kids like, oh, this person's X, and I'm like, well, now that kid believes that thing because they're
not worried about that.
Parents telling them.
I'm honking
lies,
out here. I'm honking
falsities.
at everybody. I'm honking.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying don't honk. What are you?
Stop
are you
using
thinking?
your
I'm saying
phone.
don't honk. I'm saying honk. People just need to pay more attention and stop texting at stoplights. It's like I understand the rule is like on the road, technically legally, you can probably like when you're at a full stop. I think you're supposed to have your car off though if you're really sitting there on your phone. But you know,
or at least if you're the first person in line. Like, keep an eye on the light.
Yeah. What's like, you know, if you're sitting at a light and then suddenly someone plows into you from behind because you were sitting still at a green light, that person happened to glance up.
Yeah, true.
They, you know, didn't see that you were sitting there with your brakes on. Maybe they thought you were about to go and this person's covering like, you know, 200 meters. They look away for a second. They look back. You're still there.
Yeah.
Smash.
Totally.
Like, it's...
Consequences.
Yeah, consequences. Which goes back to like the internet. Just know where you are.
Pay attention.
Pay attention because otherwise...
Be like a spy kid.
Yeah, you got to jump into a volcano that's inordinately deep.
The metaphor volcano.
Oh yeah, I forgot the volcano's fake.
The metaphorical fake volcano that is paying attention in the real world.
Right.
Oh yeah, they just fall.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Forever.
For 30 minutes.
It's just like a whooshing nothing. How long have we been falling? I don't know. My watch doesn't tell time. Best guess? I'd say about 3 hours. No, that's not right.
That's an illusion.
You'd be like at the freaking... How long? I would say after the first 2 hours, I'd be trying to like figure out what's going on.
First 2 hours?
First
I'd be
hour.
like, yeah, first...
About 20 minutes in, I'd be like, what's happening?
Yeah, I'd be like, we should have hit the planet's crust from space by now.
The people who set up this trap should have accounted for people actually falling into this trap.
Yeah.
And
well, but doesn't it turn out that they're just sitting there floating over a thing? Yeah.
They're just floating. It's an illusion.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Floating. And the practical effects of this were really, they tempted. What's that goop? Right. Is that the goop that's inside of those weird squishy tubes? You know, the squishy tubes?
The wigglers?
The wigglers?
What do they call it? Something wigglers? I forget the first part of the name. Those toys. The wigglers. Oh, Steve Buscemi stealing the show. It's time to carry the movie on his shoulders.
Right. That's how I felt about French Stewart in Clock Stoppers. He shows up and he's the old man and he's like, I've been
suddenly
inside
like, this
here.
guy's got
I've been moving forward in time in the way that you have never understood. And you're just like, this movie got weird and deep.
Right? He's like, I've been living my life at an accelerated pace.
If a car is driving 20 miles an hour and another car passes at 220 miles an hour, it's like that first car isn't even moving. Clock Stoppers, y'all.
Clock Stoppers. An old classic.
Why do I think about that line all the time? I don't know.
I don't know. You also think about does God from this movie?
That's recent. That's recent because I saw it in a meme. Yeah. And now I just can't stop thinking about it. I love when these child movies get weirdly deep.
Right. The line I believe is, do you think God stays in heaven because he's afraid of what he's created down here? Something like that. Yeah. I guess we're about to see it.
Yeah, he's going to say it in a minute. Because this guy doing weird freak science.
Right. And I remember, too, being engaged in this movie, just being like, wow, this is like one of the most interesting parts. You got this guy talking about some theoretical like ideas.
Mutant Jurassic Park.
Right.
Yeah. He really takes it. Really takes it to like an extreme.
Right. Where are those tiny birds going to go?
Those tiny birds are gone.
You gotta keep,
getting eaten by bigger birds.
But they're getting eaten by flies. Bigger flies.
Yeah.
right? Look at all those tiny creatures.
How long would a lion the size of like 4 inches long even live? Would tiny animals live very long?
Need less protein a lot longer. Well, it depends. Are you changing the size of the molecules? Are they still the same quantity of mass, just the space between them is smaller? Is it Ant-Man rules, or are they actually just subsisting at that size for gravity, that mass? Like, do they need fewer real calories because each calorie goes longer? That's the question.
I can't decide.
If it's a miniature lion that still needs the protein content of a equivalent
Ant-Man rules aren't good
mass-wise, no. Ant-Man rules are bad.
You
still need the same amount of food.
You need to just make small things. Oh yeah, then the freak animals. You got
forgot about the
head horse, the horse fly,
you got
the
goldfish,
tiger fish,
catfish,
the
turtle,
kangaroo, the flying pig, the spider monkey,
centaur gorilla,
the snake lizard, some kind of hopping
toad bullfrog. It's a bullfrog.
Yeah, there's the bullfrog. Some kind of tiger shark.
You got a dinosaur.
Well, if that's the tiger shark. Dinosaur. What was the goldfish? Must have been some kind of different fish. They all seem to be
catfish.
Okay, catfish. Yeah, I guess it's basic.
The tabby cat and a goldfish, catfish.
Shit.
But see, they've also got just a Loch Ness monster in there. They're just like, here we go.
Oh no, it's a snake and a lizard.
Is it? Looks like a Loch Ness monster.
No, a Loch Ness monster is also not terrestrial. It's got flippers. Or not, it's not ground.
Yeah, you're right. It's got flippers.
Yeah.
It's an ichthyosaurus.
Exactly. Presumably.
No, it is. It's an ichthyosaurus. That's the type of creature that people think it is.
A blurry, shitty picture of a Loch Ness monster on land.
Yeah, man. That's what we need to divert all of our UFO resources to just looking at that lake. Be like, let's look at the lake real quick, and then we'll go back to UFOs.
Just one time.
Call this a day, find out or not, and then move on.
Right. If Elon's doing anything with these Starlink satellites, he should definitely be scanning weird spots on the Earth. He's just like, but
Starlink satellites aren't LiDAR. Like, it's not it's the same type of technology.
Secret. You just do it in
secret. So put fucking LiDAR in every satellite.
Just on like one batch.
But then we're just blasting everything with extra rays.
No, just those bits.
Oh man, I have to go to the bathroom really bad. Want to just we're at 46. We want to call it or do a break?
No, we can call it. I also have to go to the bathroom.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Because I can't wait much longer.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been episode 14.
Episode 14.
I'm Nathan Goodman.
And I am Aaron Howell. Thank you for listening to the Hackurate podcast.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.